Folks, it's time to sit up for another episode of the Soul Sessions. I am your host, Soul, but with me today, he's all about swords and stuff. Shane Hoover, welcome to the show, my friend.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, absolute pleasure, pal. But what I love to do, Shane, with every guest on the show, everyone has a story, and every story has a beginning. Shane, how did your story begin within the world of professional wrestling?
Well, I suppose when I think back to how I got into it, I don't really have a pinpoint moment. It was just always around, growing up. My dad was always watching it, so I just got into it through that. And as a kid, I just always said, "Oh yeah, I want to be," kids say stuff like, "Oh, I want to be an astronaut. I want to do this." And I was just always like, "I want to be a wrestler." And I kind of hit my teenage years and got a bit rocky with wrestling's not cool. And then when I hit around 15, 16, I was just like, nah, that's all I wanted to do. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
It's a good story to have, Shane, and you mentioned there you had a rocky relationship with wrestling, kind of falling out with it. Was there a certain thing that really drawed you back in?
Yeah. So it was when I kind of got back into it a little bit, and I was watching some bits and bobs of WWE, but it was when WWE did the UK tournament, and it was it's the UK, so we got to check it on. And then I saw guys like Mark Andrews, for example, who was Welsh, and not only was he Welsh, but he was a smaller guy, and I've never been a massive lad myself, and just seeing somebody like that who's from the same place as me, and it was oh wow, that sucked me in. Do you know what I mean?
No, absolutely, pal. That whole UK tournament was a stellar thing in itself, and obviously will lead to the UK Championship. A beautiful belt, sadly no longer with us, united with the unified NXT title. That belt, is that a belt that you look at and think it's jumping on, but it's my championship? Is when I jumped on and was really, truly loving the product.
Yeah. It was always something I'd always try and I was 15, 16, but I'd still try and get the belts that you can get at the shops and stuff, and that was the one gutted it's gone, but it is what it is.
Yeah, it is what it is, and it truly was a beautiful title. But obviously, NXT UK, which would form from that, had the UK title, the women's title, and the tag title, but also the Heritage Cup as well. I want to know, Shane, your thoughts. Is that UK Men's Championship your favorite out of the UK lot, or do you prefer the tag, the women's, or the Heritage Cup?
Yeah, I definitely say that that one had the most it was around for the longest, but also again a bit biased with the Welsh lot, but seeing Flash Morgan Webster and Mark Andrews win the tag team championships at Takeover Cardiff, that made those belts feel special to me as well. But yeah, and the Heritage Cup, it's just a throwback as well. So, and then obviously the women's division, they're all special. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely. As well, NXT UK was such a beloved product, with the UK fans especially. Shane, I want to know, as someone from the UK and Welsh as well, why do you think NXT UK was so spiritually loved by UK fans especially?
I think it was, I think it's just maybe because America has all the, you got WWE, TNA, well, Impact now, but AEW, and then Japan has New Japan, and I know we got the big indies that are really rocking it, but I suppose that was the first global thing that we had that was big, so maybe that's why it resonated so much with a lot of fans.
No, absolutely, and that's a very good point as well. Obviously, with NXT UK, we would see ICW, Rev Pro, and all these companies. Big stars would leave and go to NXT UK. I want to know, Shane, for you, who is the Mount Rushmore for you of NXT UK? 4 individuals.
4. Okay. I got to say Walter, or Gunther now, but Walter. I not to go on a tangent, but I honestly think he's probably one of the top 3, if not the best wrestler in the world. Honestly, he doesn't have bad matches. He's got to be up in the top 3, in my opinion.
Oh, easy.
But anyway, yeah, Walter, Dragunov, Pete Dunne, and then Oh, I don't know. I'm feeling like I got to get a Welsh name on, but
Ooh. Tough.
I mean Tyler Bate as well. But then there's like Mark Andrews and Wild Boar, Eddie Dennis, Trent Seven. There's so many names I'm like leaving out of that, but
No, absolutely. Many great talent within NXT UK. And now I want to know, Shane, as well, favorite matches from NXT UK. I want to give me your top 3 favorite NXT UK matches.
Okay, so that's a pretty easy one, to be fair. 2 of them are from NXT UK. Oh no, sorry, NXT Takeover Cardiff. And that's the first one is the tag team, the triple threat tag match, which was Subculture. God, what was the names of the other 2 teams? Grizzled Young Veterans and Gallus. And that was a sick match. Then on the same show, the main event, Tyler Bate versus Walter. I love that match.
Oh, wow.
And then the number 1 is probably Dragunov versus Walter.
Absolutely brilliant picks, mate. Honestly, I mean, it just shows the level of absolute talented individuals and product being produced by NXT UK. And sadly, we all know NXT UK is no longer with us and was shut down, and every belt was unified. As a fan of that product, that seeing obviously our home country being resonated and represented within the WWE product, seeing it shut down, I want to know your thoughts on that.
Obviously, it was like really gutting. But I feel like maybe there's the whole talk about like NXT Europe a while back, so maybe that's going to be a thing to maybe fill that gap. But I think it also made the independent scene in the UK like so much stronger. Not that there were still guys on the scene during NXT UK that were doing sick, but I think like now having a lot of those names back on the scene, like Trent Seven and Charles Samuels and like Mark Andrews. Well, but just having those around, especially for guys coming up, it's just like it's invaluable. Like, so I think it's a blessing and a curse,
Mm-hmm. No, absolutely as well. Kind of taking away some talent, but allowed talent to grow on these UK shows and become stars themselves. And I think NXT UK will indeed be missed. But now, Shane, to you, how did you initially go into training and everything? Was that did you have a background in school with sports, or was it just I found a school and I wanted to give it a shot?
So I never really got into any sports, but I was like, I feel like I picked a lot of things up like quite quickly on my own, like before I started training. So like I said, when I saw the NXT, the UK tournament, and I saw like Mark Andrews and stuff, then I started discovering indies, and I saw like Ricochet and Will Ospreay and stuff like that, and I was like, oh well, I'm small, I can probably do that. I was a bit ambitious, but I then went out and started like learning like backflips and all the flippy stuff on my own. And then so I don't know what I'm doing. But yeah, so I messaged Dragon Pro. I was 17 at the time, asking to train, and obviously at the time, like you had to be 18 to start there, and that was the only real place to train in Wales. So I was waiting until I was 18, and then the pandemic hit. So I just ended up working throughout the pandemic, and then as soon as we started to come out of it, Dragon Pro wasn't back yet. But I was looking around. I found some smaller places. Like I started a place called Exist up in the Swansea area.
Okay.
And then I was there for a little while, but I ended up starting with a place called No Mercy Wrestling, where I was for quite a bit, and then New Wave opened up, and that's where I'm currently training and getting a lot of opportunities with like Brendan White, Wild Boar, Danny Jones, just to name a few. Like, but yeah, that's how I started with the training and stuff.
Good to see, my friend. You mentioned No Mercy there. We've had, the owner, Chris Bevan, on, and we talked about the promotion and everything. I want to know, going into No Mercy for the first time, what was that kind of environment like for you?
Yeah, it was you know, going in. I like I said, I just come from a different place where everybody was lovely. Don't get me wrong, but you know, I didn't really get on too well with the guy running it. And at that time, like, it was fresh out of lockdown. I was still a kid. I still am now. Like, I was much more like nervous. I got really anxious throughout lockdown, and so that when I came to No Mercy, everybody was very welcoming and gave me a chance to, you know, really kind of like develop. Not that I wasn't at the other place, but like, you know, Bevan and everybody at No Mercy were really good to me, and you know, I can't really fault them, to be honest.
Oh, absolutely. You know, I've been following No Mercy for a while, and it's a lovely promotion. Of course, you made your debut match in the King of the Cobra tournament. You know, my friend, some people make matches and debuts and all of that, but in a tournament, that's a hell of a way to make a debut.
Yeah. So, yeah, I had my first like outing in a battle royal with No Mercy, and then there was like a few other battle royals. I had like a one-off singles match in another place that was kind of a bit not like it wasn't great. And then the tournament came about, and I was put in there, and yeah, like I felt a lot of pressure to kind of like, especially because the first few rounds of the tournament were held in my hometown venue that my family are like very involved with.
Wow.
So it was like a lot of family and friends and people that I knew were there, and it was like I got to be like it was my first real few matches, and I was like I got to be good. So yeah, it was a lot of pressure, and then to win the whole thing, was, you know, I'm very, very grateful for that whole experience. It was sick.
No, of course. I mean, that's a hell of a story, my friend. Making a debut in a tournament and then winning it, all in all.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't imagine, when the free hits and you won that tournament and all the all the adrenaline is leaving you and everything. I want to talk about the feelings. You've won this tournament, and what are thoughts are going through your mind, pal?
Yeah, well, it was so like I said, I've been wanting to get into wrestling for like my whole life, so I was like very emotional.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm not afraid to admit it. Like I remember the first battle royal I did, I was sobbing when I got backstage, and everybody was like, "You right?" I was like, "Yeah, I don't know." But then yeah, with this tournament when I won, it was quite it was very emotional because I was in there with Kenny Mantra, who I was close with at the time. I still am, still good mates with him. But to be acknowledged by him as like after the match, giving me a hug, and then Bevan coming out and presenting me the sword, like it was overwhelming in the best way. It was just like, very emotional. But yeah.
Definitely, pal. I mean, that sword as well. I mean, I can't imagine when people see you with it, they're wondering, why the hell do you have a sword? What's
Yeah.
Give me the story. Has anyone ever thought like, why do you have a sword? Saying what was with the sword?
Some people have. I mean, like, so the sword thing is a different thing completely. Like, outside of wrestling, the only thing that I have ever really been like mad on is Mortal Kombat. Like even growing up, and like I know it's an 18 plus. My dad probably shouldn't have bought me the game, but I've been playing the game for years, and it's like it's my jam. Like, but that was another huge inspiration. Like a lot, if you watch a lot of my movements in the ring, it's just ripped straight out of that game, to be honest. And the swords and stuff is obviously a huge part of that game. And I remember when I was like 11, I asked my dad for a sword, and he was like, "Yeah," and he just got me a sword. And now I have like 26, and I remember 20, about 26, 27. But anyway, I remember when I was first starting the tournament, I asked Bevan from No Mercy if I could make an entrance with a sword. I just wanted to, and he was like, "Well, Shane, we actually have a trophy if you win the tournament that is a sword." And I was like, "Well, I got to win then." But yeah. I've never really had anybody. I recently a show was told that I can't come out with it anymore because it's encouraging knife crime. So
Jesus.
I don't use the sword anymore for entrances.
Oh,
But
shame
yeah.
to see, pal. But you mentioned Mortal Kombat there, and I love Mortal Kombat 9. I think that's one of the best ones. But obviously, we've got Mortal Kombat 1 coming up. I want to know your thoughts. Are you excited about it? And is there any particular guest characters you love to see in it?
Oh mate, like I'm bouncing for it. Like I've got it pre-ordered. I'm gutted. I'm not wearing I bought the hoodie from the website. I've got the hoodie with the new logo and stuff. I wish I wore it for this interview now, but yeah, I'm bouncing for it. In terms of guest characters, like God, Roman Reigns. No, no. I don't know. Maybe like I've seen like rumors about potential leaks, like about like Homelander and stuff from the boys, which I'm also a huge fan of. So like stuff like that would be sick, you know.
No, definitely. I'm more for. I would love a Homelander, Peacemaker, maybe Invincible as well from that series. I'd be buying for that. But you mentioned the boys there, Mortal Kombat. I want to know, Shane, if you had to pick a character from the boys and a character from Mortal Kombat to have entrance gear inspired by, which two characters?
Oh God. So, I mean, I couldn't do Homelander from the boys because I'd just be dressed like in the American flag, so I can't do that. I mean, like Starlight's got that like gold and white. That looks good in wrestling a lot. So maybe that. And then from Mortal Kombat, like, funny enough, like my two sets of gear that I've been wearing a lot lately are actually one Scorpion inspired and one Sub-Zero inspired. Like after this interview, go check my Instagram. You'll see it as soon as I've said it, you'll notice it. But entrance gear, probably Scorpion, because like he's had the hood and like you know he's the most iconic, and so I'd probably go with that.
You never thought maybe a Johnny Cage inspired one?
I'd just come out in a tuxedo. Yeah.
Tuxedo, aviators, mate. Fucking style. Style, my friend. But now you mentioned New Wave Academy there, and New Wave Academy is such a great company in itself. But you would actually face off against Wild Boar, who we've had on this show before. Facing off against someone from NXT UK, a promotion you've loved. I can't imagine the thoughts going through your mind when you knew this match was announced.
Yeah. So Brennan, who runs New Wave, he didn't even really tell me about our match until the graphic went out. He was just like, "Oh yeah, you'll see," and then the graphic went out. I was like, "Oh." So yeah, that was a really lovely surprise. I was very, very nervous, but like I don't think I've learned more from a single match than I have from that one, because Wild Boar's just the man, and it's very insightful, especially being like as new as I was then. I still am again, but like it was just an invaluable experience. I learned so much about like almost every aspect of working a match, and he was just a joy to work with. I hope I get to work with him again soon.
No, of course, absolutely. And I know New Wave had their championship, which was previously held by James Ellis, guest of the show, but now it's held by Elijah. I want to know, Shane, is that championship maybe on your eyes?
Oh yeah, 1,000,000%. Yeah, I'm hoping. Brennan's got so there's a bit of a plan with New Wave management at the moment. So there's going to be a scramble match on every show leading up to the end of the year, and then the last show of the year there's going to be a scramble match for the belt with all the winners of the previous scramble matches. So I'm hoping. I was just in one and I lost to Alex Vaughan, who is just a horrid man. Mm-hmm. But I'm hoping if I get in another scramble match, I can hopefully win, and maybe at the end of the year see if I can take that belt. But we'll see what happens. Yeah.
Definitely. I mean, hey, viewers, get the hashtag going. Hooker in Scramble for New Wave. Get that trend in now. We'll get Shane in the Scramble matches. Yes. Obviously, you've actually faced another champion as well, because I know for No Mercy's 1 year anniversary show, you faced Nico Angelo, who's a champion from TNT. Yeah. And TNT's quite an established company as well, doing stuff with GCW. We've had Visage, who's recently, wrestled there quite a lot. Going against someone who's a champion in an established company, do you feel like that's another extra pressure upon you?
Oh yeah, 1,000,000%. Because there's just like that thing in the back of your head. There's going to be extra eyes on it, and and Nico Angelo was a huge inspiration for me anyway. Like, so that was one match that I was like dying to have, and then with that championship being put on the line, it was like that extra layer of like, oh, okay, right, this got to go well, and I feel like it did. I'm quite proud of that one.
Definitely. And After that match, no Mercy having its year anniversary. Obviously, there's a championship in there, the Combat Legacy Championship.
Yeah.
The guest of the show, James Ellis. I want to know, Shane. James Ellis, he's the brilliance, good as gold, as he says. A bit on the cocky side, but I want to know maybe, you gonna go for the Combat Legacy Championship? Maybe that'll look good over your shoulder with the Scorpion-inspired gear.
I think maybe it will. I think any chance to wrestle James Ellis, I will snap up, because as much as he is, James Ellis, when you have a chat with him, inside the ring, like you can't deny how good he is. So any chance to wrestle James Ellis, I will jump at. And if the Combat Legacy Championship is in there as well, I'll happily take that off him and put that on my shoulder. Where I can't use swords anymore, so I need some belts now.
Oh, exactly. Well, I know you do have one, actually. You had the Carnage Outbreak champion.
Yeah.
And that was I'm correct, that was your first title you've ever won, if I'm correct?
Yes.
I want to know, winning your first championship, I mean, from fans, we love it when a wrestler gets a title. But in the ring, a wrestler winning their first championship, that's going to be a memory you hold on for a long time, my friend, correct?
Yeah, 1,000,000%. Yeah, that was a special one. And, Carnage is another promotion I cannot fault at all. They've done nothing but give me opportunities, and just a brilliant shows to go to, in my opinion. And to win that belt as well, in a hardcore match, after dropping someone, I Spanish flied him onto Lego, and then I tapped him out with a kendo stick. So
my God, Shane, Legos, you monster! How could you?
I know. I think he deserved it, though.
Fair play.
But yeah, no, winning that belt was a really special moment, really cool, and really, really proud of that.
It's always good to be proud of your work, my friend. And we've seen champions have custom, belts. They take a championship they've won and they like to put their own creative spin on it. Shane, how would you like to do a custom championship? Would you just put a bunch of swords on it, or how would you do it?
I suppose it'd be like, do you know, like the Game of Thrones throne? It'd just be like that. It'd just be like that, but as a belt. I don't know. Probably something like that, I'd imagine.
Well, you could use that as a weapon in a death match or something, my friend, and you will win for sure. But, I want to talk about Wales in itself. Wales is a beautiful country. I've been down there for Clash of the Castle, and I loved it as well. Great experience. But we know WrestleMania is possibly coming to the UK. John Cena made the announcement during Money in the Bank. Seems like the ball's getting rolling. But out of stadiums in the UK, we've not got many, but a lot of people think maybe go back to Principality, which was held for Clash of the Castle. Do you think that's the best move for WWE?
I think it definitely could be. I think they could do it in the Principality Stadium, or they could do it in London, or I think either way it's gonna sell out, innit? So I think after the experience at Clash of the Castle, I'd be stupid not to come back to Principality at some point.
No, absolutely. Your Clash was such a thriving environment down there with the fans and everything. Shane, were you at the show, or did you watch the show from home?
I was there, yeah. I was at the show.
Wow, everyone was there. See, the UK fans take the opportunity, travel by hell or war, we'll get to the show. I want to know, from the atmosphere in the show, you got to agree. I personally think that Drew and Roman was the best match of the night, but a lot of people like to say Sheamus and Gunther. I'm guessing you're saying Sheamus and Gunther?
I'm going to say Sheamus and Gunther for, like, the match, but I think in terms of drama, it's definitely Drew and Roman. Like that was the one that I like. I was just like, you don't know what's going on. You're like, oh God, it was so intense.
Absolutely, my friend. It was truly nail biting moment. I wish Drew won for the Scottish home team. We need a win eventually.
Yeah,
I'm sure we will. But I know, obviously, many other promotions here in the UK. I know you've done, obviously, we mentioned New Wave, No Mercy, but there's ICW up in Scotland, there's TNT down south, and Rev Pro. I want to know, Shane, which other promotions are maybe on your radar of wanting to have a wee few matches in?
To be honest, it's as many as possible. Like I just want to get as many experiences as I can, just to improve. Like, funny enough, just a few days ago, at York Hall, Rev Pro had Epic Encounters, and I went along to help out at the show, and it's just like, it was insane. Like, it was the first independent that I've been to that felt like stupidly big. And like, yeah, so that was a sick experience. Like, but yeah, anyway that'll have me at the moment. I just want to get out there as much as I can, getting. But yeah, can't speak today. Get as many experiences as I can, and just enjoy it all.
Of course, enjoy but learn, Shane. Every day's a school day. But you mentioned that Rev Pro show, Epic Encounters. Fucking hell, what a show! What a show! I got to know from someone who was there, what was the best match to see in that live crowd atmosphere experience?
It's a draw for me between Will Ospreay and Leon Slater, and then Mike Loku and Great O'Khan for the championship in the main event. But then there's also like Robbie X and Connor Mills was really good. Like all the matches were off the page, like, and then the tag team championship match, Subculture and Greedy Souls, like that was stupidly good. So, yeah, I'd say probably my personal favorites would have been Ospreay and Slater and the championship match. But yeah,
definitely good choices indeed. I mean, I've only ever seen Ospreay through the telly and all that, and all the live streams watching matches, but I feel like Ospreay must give a very intense aura when watching him in person. Would you agree?
Oh yeah, 1,000,000%. I've seen him in person twice now. The first time was at Rev Pro show in Cardiff where he faced Big Damo, which was another stupidly good match. And there's just like an aura. It's just kind of like goosebump moments when he kind of walks out the curtain. It's like, wow, he's there. Do you know what I mean? It's like it is quite surreal.
No, definitely. He has that intensity, ferocity, and passion. And obviously, he's had two, I think, best contenders for Match of the Year with Kenny Omega, Wrestle Kingdom, and Forbidden Door. I got to know, Shane, for you, someone who's obviously admired Ospreay, I want to know which match you think's better, Wrestle Kingdom with Kenny or Forbidden Door with Kenny?
I feel like it was Forbidden Door, but maybe it's just because I watched that one more recently. But that's the one that jumped to my mind straight away.
Oh, definitely. I mean, hey, that Tiger Driver 91 spot. Oh, shit.
Yeah, that was gruesome. Yeah.
Oh, God, there are many things in this world I will not do, and one is take that from Will Ospreay. I will do anything else I need to do to avoid that kind of encounter. But obviously, the UK wrestling scene right now is going to have a massive boom in August with AEW All In coming over. I want to know, Shane, obviously wrestling in the UK scene, do you feel like there's a certain buzz within the independent scene of AEW coming in for All In at Wembley?
Oh yeah, 1,000,000%. Like I feel like the UK scene in the last year or so anyway has just been skyrocketing, and just like every show I go to, everybody's just striving to be the best on the card, which is brilliant because there's so much good wrestling going on, and there's so much healthy competition, and yeah, with All In coming as well, I think like there's a lot of people just striving to get to that next level. Do you know what I mean? It's just sick at the moment. It really is.
It's kind of like a reminder for your motivation. You're grinding every day, wrestling matches, but when you see these big companies over and selling out big stadiums, would you feel like it's kind of like a kick in the curb? You're kicking yourself, and because you can see the big companies are doing it.
Yeah, definitely. It's like it's humbling as well, because like I'll be at like a smaller show and I'll do my match and it's like, oh, that was sick, and then you get to like you see a Rev Pro show, or on the next level up you see like a Clash of the Castle or All In, and it's like, well, that's it. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely, that's the end goal, my friend. And obviously, when AEW announced Wembley Stadium for All In, a lot of people were skeptic. Mostly, I say the Americans. They were a bit skeptic that we couldn't sell it out or get high enough tickets. But right now, they're doing over 70,000 tickets. Why do you think people were so skeptical that UK fans wouldn't turn up for these big stadium shows?
I honestly don't know. Like, I think that UK crowds have done nothing in the last few years but prove that they're the best crowds. So I think the American need to shut it, to be honest. No, I'm joking. But yeah, no, I think like you see Clash of the Castle and Money in the Bank in London the other day, and it's just like maybe it is a bit of bias, but I think like those crowds are just like untouched. Do you know what I mean? They're, in my opinion, some of the best wrestling crowds in the world. So
you're absolutely right, my friend. With the creative chance we can do with our kind of attitude,
yeah, exactly.
We're a fun bunch. But I want to know, Shane, obviously, I like to do sort of dream scenarios. I want to know if Tony Khan came to you and said, Shane, I love your style. I love what you do. I want you to have a match at All In against anyone on the AEW roster. You make your pick. I'll make the match. Who is it you want to wrestle from AEW?
Oh, that's a good question. Probably Bryan Danielson.
Ooh.
If I could like hand pick, probably Bryan Danielson. But he's injured at the moment, though. Does that count?
I say it's fine. You're going to slay the dragon, bring that sword to the ring, and you'll be absolutely dandy.
I don't know what happened there. Sorry about
that. I don't worry, I'll cut that bit out. I was going you're going to bring that sword, cut down the dragon, and win the match. I think that's a fair plan.
Yeah, I think that's a fair plan. Bryan Danielson. Yeah,
absolutely. But I want to know, obviously, you could be maybe Tony came to you and said, hey, what match do you think would be good with the UK crowd? What kind of match would you love to put on being the booker for All In, Shane?
I don't know. That's a difficult question. Like in a good way. I don't know. We like, again, going back to the Rev Pro show the other day, like you had like Ospreay and Lee and Slater, which is like hard hitting, fast paced, like mental match. And then like you also had like Zack Sabre Jr. versus Jordan Breaks, and that was just, I think, like maybe 16, 17 minutes of just British wrestling, and both had standing ovations. So I think like with a British crowd, I think we can appreciate almost any style of wrestling if it's done well. Do you know what I mean? So I think mix it up. I think one thing maybe with AEW is maybe have, like I said, mix it up rather than like a bunch of matches that are very similar, maybe different styles of matches. But I'm not a promoter. I don't have the head for it. I get, my brain would be fried. Like
too much planning, and then the board's all messed up, and you're just flipping the table and saying, "Screw the script. Does everyone have a Royal Rumble? 60 minutes, 2 hours, easy." But I want to know as well, Shane. Obviously, a lot of wrestlers when they're younger like to envision themselves with a certain championship on the top. I want to know, Shane, for you, if you could have any championship that's currently going, any world championship around your shoulder, is there a particular one you always envisioned yourself holding?
When I was little, it was always the World Heavyweight Championship, the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, and that wouldn't have been possible. But they recently brought it back, so I suppose if I keep at it, maybe maybe a decade or whatever, like maybe it'd be a possibility. But yeah, that was always the one when I was little. Like maybe it's just because like I was just a bit thick and it was a big gold, and it was like, oh yeah, I don't know, but yeah, that was the one for me growing up.
Well, shoot for the stars, my friend. Shoot for the stars. Well, Shane, it has been an absolute pleasure having you here on the Soul Session, my friend. But what I have to do with every guest, if they've loved what they've heard from you, I want to see you wrestle in person. What kind of dates have you got lined up for the rest of the year?
So I'm gonna try and do the ones that are off the top of my head because I'm bad with dates, but it's all in my calendar. But so this weekend I have got New Wave on Friday against Leon Cage, who is a really good mate of mine, and that match is going to be stupid, just ridiculous. I hope, in the best possible way. I hope. Then I got EWW Saturday, and then Sunday No Mercy. There's a bunch of New Wave shows throughout the year. Attack shows. I got Wrestle Carnival in September on the 9th, I want to say. And yeah, there's a few other ones like dotted around that I can't think of off the top of my head, but those are the ones coming up and the ones that jump out.
Oh, very lovely indeed. And don't worry, viewers, you can't complain of being lazy or anything, because I'm going to put Shane's Instagram link in the description of this video. Click it, follow him, check him out, and see the King of the Cobra tournament fly out for the UK scene. Well, hey, thank you very much for being on the show, Shane. I have been your host, Soul. He has been Shane Hooker. Thank you for tuning in for another episode of the Soul Sessions.